What is happening, budget builders, and welcome back to the Galaxie Rescue. This car had sat many years in a barn. We were able to get that old 390 to fire up, and it purrs like a kitten. We detailed the exterior of this car, and we went through and cleaned up the interior. In today's video, we're going to take it step by step, build the brakes. Let's go through and clean that disgusting engine bay. Let's doll it up, get it looking really good, put some mufflers, exhaust on this car, and take it for its first cruise since at least 1998. Now, first thing to do, obviously, walk around with your PB blaster or your penetrating oil and start soaking down all these crusty bolts and brake lines. Starting on the driver's side here, we'll see she is pretty darn crusty. You will remember we had to beat this drum off, and it did end up cracking and breaking because it was really crusty and stuck on there. First step, I always like to get in here and just start loosening stuff up as far as taking our little holders off. And you can see those just kind of go in there, in, twist, and then latch with the spring. Although these are crusty, they look pretty solid, and the springs still have pretty good springiness to them. A lot of times those will break, and then once your pads start wobbling around, it'll give you issues. Hey, get out of here. Go on. Thank you. With those loose, it'll start kind of freeing up your springs. We can start taking those off. Sometimes you got to give them a slight bend, and then you can pinch them back down in when we get them back on. What's kind of cool is even for a 61, this does have self-adjusters, which is handy. Our cable looks to be in pretty good shape. I normally have to replace those on these cars that have been sitting so long, but I think that'll be fine. And it's not detrimental. If that comes off, you can still adjust it yourself, but they're very good and handy to have. Get that adjuster out of there, and we are going to have to work to get all of this free. This is supposed to spin by itself, and obviously it's supposed to thread in and out. Crossover bar for the emergency brake. These can be aggravating. Pull your spring back and off with the emergency brake lever. Now we come out with that wheel cylinder. Our line is stuck in the back and not spinning, so I had to pull it all out in one go. I don't think we wanted to save that right there. I always like to come in here with some good quality grease and grease our riding points. We can go back on with our shoes. You will notice one is a lot longer than the other, and a good reference to remember is big back. So the big pad goes to the back, and so if you notice the ones we pulled off, the longer one was in the rear, shorter one in the front. So that kind of coincides with what we're saying there, and let's do it. And now we've got to transfer the emergency brake rod here over to the other shoe, and these are a little aggravating. Got this little spread clip here. We just gotta kind of fight to take off like so. You got this little spring washer. Never hurts to put a little grease on here. There we go. Get our top spring back on, and then like I said, we can kind of close it back off. That just shot halfway across the plant. And that is why we have extra brake stuff everywhere. Like so. And I've gone ahead, got our adjuster freed up, greased it, get it in place. That latched. Put it all back together. We take our drum, and I'm going to clean off the oil from the braking surface. So what you want to do is, you'll see we're going on. We have some slight drag, but we can still move. And that'll allow us to be close enough for that adjuster to go ahead and correct for it. And there we go. We got one brake done. With the rears done, let's see if we can't knock out these fronts. Now with the fronts, the spindle here and the drum are kind of one piece. So we take our caps off, like so. Some pretty decent looking grease in there. And go ahead and pull that outside bearing. Throw it in the sand. So now we have to clean it up really good. Not too shabby. And as we can see, that was sealed up pretty good. Maybe somebody had done these not too long before it got parked. Left a little bit of pad where it was stuck, but we've moved it around enough that it's freed up nicely. And at this point, it's all the same, other than we don't have to worry about the emergency brake, and we can get to where we put it back together. So we're going back together. Like in the rear, we set our tension here. I say our tension. We set those pads where they rub just slightly. We have a little bit of resistance there, so we don't have to allow the adjuster to adjust them too much. And then when I'm going in and tightening, and I normally just do it with a pair of pliers like this so I don't get it too crazy tight, I run it until it is snug, kind of seats everything down, and then I'll kick it off about a quarter turn. That'll normally get us where we don't wiggle and we spin freely. With our front brakes now done, everything taken care of, including our new hoses, we can go ahead and move on to replacing this master cylinder. You can see I've already gone ahead and pulled that line off. Now we just got those 2 9/16 nuts on the firewall. Take our brake light switch loose. Let's pop that off of there. You've got to be kidding me. Came loose on the pedals. I was able to get a pair of vice grips up in there to hold it and bite it. And I do realize that fresh air vent has a little nest in there that I guess we missed. That I was able to take it off there, and then I may end up needing to pull the clip and pull our lever off of the brake pedal. Nope, pulls right out. Cool deal. All right. Nice. With the brakes done, when we still have this car up in the air, we might as well go ahead and take care of the few things we need to back here. One of those being this gas tank. You will notice it doesn't look terrible other than some of this pitting here and some spots that are weeping. And primarily what I like to do with the tank is clean it out. If we can get it really clean, let it ride. If not, go ahead and coat it with the red stuff. There's a reason why this one's leaking like that. Of course, we'll be putting new line on there. Hopefully the hose is, or hopefully the line is okay. We'll be putting new hoses. So not a big deal just to snip them. And you can see, oh, that is disgusting. Woo-wee. What is nice on this car is the filler neck is actually part of the tank. So it just drops out of there because it does come through. It's coming down. Man, look how solid this car is. It amazes me. You can see leaking around here, not a huge deal because that's where your seal is, but you can see weeping from a bunch of random spots, I guess when it was sloshing around, and that is just not good. But I do want to undo this just for the heck of it. I'll probably save this ring. Because a lot of times new ones don't come with the right rings. Oh my goodness. Yep. Sheesh. I almost tanked the whole shop up too. Good grief. My professional fuel tank opinion is there is a... Wow. What in the world? Oh. Look, that's all rusted out there too. Yeah, I don't think we want to save that tank. It's gone. Cleared out our fuel line, and we got some good stuff in there. Ugh. Why do I always have to do that? Time to go back in with the tank. As you can see, I did put some foam padding here and on the straps, just so we know we don't have any rattles on our new tank. We got the sending unit hooked up and fuel line hooked up. Ran our fresh one. I do have a fuel filter here, even though it has the fuel filter on the pump, because I know we're gonna cycle a little bit of crud through that old line, but I think it'll be good to go. Let's see if we can get this thing to fire off on its own tank. Don't you just love that? Took it a second to get cycled through there, just pure black into that filter and cleared right out. So mostly just staining as far as the gunk on the side of the line. Not a ton of trash. I think we'll be all right. The reason we are firing this thing up is because our next step, let me cut this thing off. Our next step on this, again, while it's still up in the air, is to take care of those old rusted out cherry bombs. Thankfully, the exhaust all the way down the car looks really good, and so do the manifolds, which is kind of an iffy thing on these big block FEs. So we're not going to mess with anything else other than this tail section. Most of the time when you're doing this exhaust, midship does sound a lot better, but because it is such nice shape and everything, and this is kind of a low slung car, I think our best spot is to try to put it in the rear here. So I've got the muffler up in there and currently just straight out. And it will go in a little bit more. I did grab a tip kind of similar to original. Yeah, that'd look better. With our brakes and exhaust taken care of, now we can move on to this engine bay. One thing, of course, we need to take care of is that obnoxious water pump making all that racket, and it's really not good for this motor as far as cooling goes. So we have a fresh water pump for this. Let's go ahead and throw our time lapse on. Let's spray this engine bay down. Let's degrease everything. Start cleaning it up.
Good?
I just wanted to show you while we had the carburetor off. It's not clean necessarily, but it's not horrible. And the car did run off a bunch of spider webs and stuff, so it's like they had spider webs nest down in there. But the big thing that I noticed is your primary throttle plate's open, and I did go ahead and disconnect. Our diaphragm appears to still be good, but I am going to replace it. These secondaries are completely frozen. So we sure would not be having near as much fun as hopefully we're going to with this repaired. So PB Blaster. Whew. There she goes. Well, it's almost dark, but let's take this thing for its first cruise. We've got pretty good brake pedal. Clutches might need a new helper return spring on the clutch there. Oh yeah. And inside the car, the exhaust is loud. It's not obnoxious. It might be a little obnoxious, but in the car, even with all four windows down, it's really comfortable. I mean, it's not too overboard for what it is. I mean, it kind of goes along with this old cruiser car. Clutch engagement feels good. We're off. Wow, that's a lot. That's gotta be a 289 gear or something in this car. I'm gonna give it a little gas here. Oh my, hear those secondaries open up? That's a lot of car to get rolling like that. Oh my goodness. Let's check the brakes. Oh yeah. It is odd to me, the power steering, this is a pinky car with manual brakes. It is not a, it's not hard to stop by any means, but it doesn't feel right in a car like this. It's a big boat. I mean, it's kind of floaty, but this is a, this is a cruiser. Get on it again just a little bit. That is a lot of fun. That is going to wrap it up for this episode. I really hope you all have enjoyed the rescue of this 1961 Galaxie. It's so much fun bringing these cars out of these barns, rescuing from scrap yards and junkyards and the other places that we do. They've been forgotten, they've been abandoned, something happened and they got tucked away, and it's so much fun to bring them back to life. And it's because of all of you that we have the opportunity to do this, and we really do appreciate it so incredibly much. We hope you're happy with the outcome of the car so far. There's a few little odds and ends we're going to tinker with. We may work in the engine bay a little bit more, getting it dolled up just a bit more, and a few other things people have commented about, beauty rings, maybe putting the white walls back out. But now is the time we get to start driving and enjoying this car, taking it to cruise-ins and car shows and car meets and having fun with it. It is a really fun car for an old four-door, and we're glad you all came along with us on this rescue. If you haven't already and you do enjoy this kind of stuff, be sure to hit the subscribe button, notification bell. But that'll wrap it up. Peace out, and catch you all on the flip side.